Fire Force Season 3, Episode 12, The Madness of the Distant Past. We're getting into some history, and we're definitely getting into some action. So let's talk about it. Welcome back, Geek Variants. So this is getting to the end of the first core for Fire Force Season 3, and I like where we're going now. We got action, we got history, we got the setup, Great Cataclysm, everything's on the way, it's about to go down. I'm excited for it. So we see Fairy, and actually get to see Fairy in action, which I'm excited about. So Fairy observes a Titan, and he's already got Shinra captured. He's up there sitting chilling, and while he's doing that, all of a sudden he's got arrows coming his way, and it's just like, what's going on? We know who that is. Arrows down there firing a bunch of metal rods in his direction, and he's getting confused because he's like, where are they going? Like, you're missing wildly. You're like, you're not hitting me. And we find out the arrow is merely giving Show a platform to stand on as he makes his way up to attack Fairy straight up. Like, get my brother. Like, there's no hesitation. He's not here to talk about it. He's just straight up like, yo, we finna throw hands. It was great. But again, Fairy keeps using his powers to manipulate and kind of throw people around. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what his power is and what was going on. But he's able to stop arrows shots from coming. He's able to flip the script on Show and move him in a different direction if he feels like. We already saw him do that with Shinra very easily to capture him. So while this is going on, Show eventually starts using his power and starts more or less teleporting, and he's able to get a slice through Fairy at one point, and Fairy just turns and smiles, and that's kind of it. So Show, of course, is just like, something ain't right. While that's going on, Inca is actually walking with her guardian, speaking of the future. Like, she knows the future and she knows what's coming, and she's very excited about it. She's a little bit of a sadist. Like, she's just kind of like, yeah, I can't wait for the world to burn in flames and all the stuff kind of go with there. And if I go with it, whatever. She's on one and she's ready. We go back to Show, and Show realizes that Fairy has some sort of ability to use misdirection, or I want to say, like, not necessarily teleportation, but able to kind of phase in and out, or something that keeps him from being touched. The whole intangibility factor. Eventually, Fairy explains what's going on, which I never was a super big fan of this, but it's appreciated. I wish the explaining wouldn't happen in the middle of a fight, because it feels like, oh, let's stop and listen. So like, no, I'm trying to take you out. Like, I'm gonna keep trying to take you out. You explaining does help me know how to take you out, but we got to have this conversation freaking at another time. Either way, Show is like, all right, what's your deal? And he talks about being able to control gravity. He's able to break the laws of gravity, defy them, do whatever. He's able to add freaking heat particles or whatever the case would be to objects to increase their mass, their density, whatever. And like, he's trying to, and he can choose how to move them around. So if he can add them, or else he can take them away. So hence, oh, I can make your up down, your left right. I can make you float, make you drop, whatever the case would be. So that's the extent of his powers, to control gravity, increase the mass on objects. So he can also use that to bend the path of light. So that's where he gets the intangibility from. Is like, you think you see him, you're slicing at him, but you're not really, because again, he's not there. He's bending that path. So great to see his powers in his full effect, but this of course leaves Shinra unattended. So Ogun was like, yo, I need permission. Can I go rescue Shinra? He's asking Captain Pan. Captain Pan's like, do it. The other guy, Kareem, he's not too happy about it, but once his captain says, hey, this is going to happen, he straight up's like, respect, we don't leave nobody behind. So he gets tip top real quick, and Ogun goes do it, but Sho sees Shinra falling, is like, yeah, no, I got him. Bam, takes him, gets him back to rest. And while he gets him back on the ground of rest, we see Ogun show up, is like, hey, what's going on? And Sho disappears again. So it's like, all right, what's going on with that? Kurono, on the other hand, is out there swinging. He is still dealing with this Titan. He's just like, yo, I'm having a blast. So he takes off the other arm, and as he's doing, he's feeling himself hard. He's just like, yo, I am feeling good. You finally are weak enough to where I feel good about this. I'm finna handle my business. And then one smooth strike, he drops that thing and disintegrates it like completely. Like, you see pieces fall into the water. and more or less there's like a black spot where it's, I guess, his remains or whatever the case may be, and everything's freaking good. Company 8 is watching all of this from the TV. And while they're watching, we see Iris. She gets that kind of weird feeling, like something ain't right. We see a little kind of a little glitch kind of thing, and something's off, and she feels it. She doesn't know what to do about it. When we go back to the Titans area, we see that darkness where the Titan had fell moves to the pillar, and actually it looks like it gets perfectly underneath the pillar and it starts to attach to the pillar. So pillar starts turning black, whatever the case may be. Not sure what this entails, but it's some kind of fusion at the base of the pillar. So we know that's going to be a problem. When this happens, we see Yona, and again, I'm butchering some of these names, Yona, who is recanting their experience from the first Great Cataclysm. So back in the layer of the White Clad, and about 250 years ago, when everything failed, and he just became some kind of devil. Like he doesn't know really what he is, but he just kind of uses what humans would probably refer to it as. And we find out that he's the one, of course, who, if you didn't already know, he's the one who took out Raffles, and he's a shapeshifter. So he ended up basically preaching the gospel of Amaterasu and building the religion and having her stored within the tank because he found her as he was walking. So he's kind of keeping all that up for show and appearances. And that's one of the reasons why everybody was questioning, like, this Raffles has been around for a while, what's been going on, whatever, because it's it's him. So we get a little bit of a backstory. And after we get that backstory, we go back to Iris, who is praying alone in the room. And both her and Amaterasu eyes seem to glow. It's like they have like a moment of awakening. And it's like, oh crap, something's going on there. And then while that's happening, Shinra and Inca end up having an Adola link. And he's like, why are we having an Adola link? And she's like, I see the future. I'm trying to tell you, like, I can't see the past, but there's things going on, and I see how this ends. And what I see is you going to the past. And he's like, yo, what are you talking about? She's like, I also see us falling in love. He's like, yeah, don't say crazy stuff. But she's like, you need to see the past because it's the future. Like, it's what the future holds is for you to see the past, and using your speed, you can get there. So after very little convincing, Inca hops on and says, I'm coming with you. And he gets into a position. He's like, all right, hang on. Like, we're going to go. And he shoots off and at hyper speed straight into the past. And we get this cool little montage. So his character is more or less kind of like a flat drawing and it's kind of like staticky and stuff, while we're going through actual, looks like actual images of society, freaking of, culture, freaking back then. So you actually see what he refers to as things that look like people, was it's actual people, so that he's the drawing, but it's actual people, and we see these flashes and these images, and they're kind of like black and white, and he's trying to process all this, but it's giving them this sense of madness that he can't shake. Like he's trying to hold it together, but again, it's a lot to process. Like you just jumped 250 years into the past and seen civilization and how it was. And again, you know how your civilization is now. Like it's a lot to process, and like his brain probably gonna pop. Like he's trying to keep it together. So while this is going on, he's putting it all together, and eventually he has to more or less hold his head together as he's dealing with it, and then he kind of like passes out, and he ends up waking up, and he's strapped to a bed. Like I'm talking about, like you can't go nowhere. Like this is for your own safety type stuff. Like several straps where he's strapped to the bed, and in the process of this, he eventually wakes up, realizing that he's strapped to that bed, and he sees the different things going on television, and those things that are happening on the television are things that have to do with pillars. So pillars are there. Apparently, there's 5 pillars now, and it's been 3 months, and he's got blondish hair on top of his head. It's like, what happened? Where'd the blonde hair come from? How are we on 5th pillars? It's been 3 months. What's been going on for the past 3 months that's had Shinra out like a light? Like it's absolutely wild, and this is where we're getting set up because we got to know like what the deal is going into the next episode or the next part of the season, because this is the end, like coming up. Like this is the end in terms of the Great Cataclysm. This is the end in terms of Fire Force season 3, in terms of Fire Force the show. So whatever's going on in the manga, whatever people have already read, I have not read it. I refuse to read it because I want to finish watching the show before I go back and read the manga and see what's different. But this is ramping up really good. One of my favorite things to talk about, like this is ramping up and this is getting better. Like the stakes are getting higher in terms of, okay, now we got 5 pillars to deal with. Iris has got something going on. Amaterasu seems to have woken up. Shows freaking run around missing. We don't know what Kurono is going to do after he destroyed the thing. So we got that whole Titan that's kind of going up under the pillar. Were there Titans at each pillar? Is there some kind of thing that they had to deal with at each pillar? They were fighting without Shinra, and they're trying to get that stuff together. What's Fairy then? Is Fairy going to each pillar and make sure that things are happening as they need to for the pillar? Like, what's the deal? So I got questions. I need to hear comments. I need to see comments. I need to hear your responses. I need to know everything, what you think is going on. So please make sure you hit that little red subscribe button. Again, I want to talk to you about all of this. I want to see what's going on. I hear your thoughts as far as what do you think of the show thus far? What do you think we're going to get into the next episode? How are things going to transpire? And again, the only answer is if you're in the same boat as me where you're trying to figure stuff out and learn. But if you already know, trying to spoil it for anybody. We want to just kind of learn as it goes along and have that fun and that suspense and just have a great time with it. That's all I got for this one. I appreciate you guys. I'll catch y'all on the next one.